Rich, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Exciting times with friend. We have on call January 9th, I believe. Am I correct
Yep.
on that one?
Yes, you are.
Exciting, man. You've been busy the last time we spoke. You've been busy the last few years.
Yeah, I'm just blessed and grateful to have the momentum, my team and I have been able to create over the last few years and, one project to the next. So, no complaints right now.
Right. How did that on call happen? Was that an audition or was it somebody you knew? Like, hey, we might have a role for you. How did this happen?
Right. It started out as a regular audition. I knew the show was kind of in the works. People in the industry talk a lot, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things said behind closed doors. So, I was aware that Dick Wolf was doing a streamer and didn't know too much of the details behind the show. But definitely when I got the call early, gosh, it must have been early 2023. I was very excited, did my thing, and we're here now. So no, so I'm just excited for everyone to see what we've done. And January 9th is a big date.
Right, right. So we see you as Sergeant Tyson. How do you pronounce the last name? Koyama?
Koyama.
Koyama.
Yep.
What was the description you were given for this character?
That's a great question. Traditionally, it started out. Well, let me give props and respect to Tim Walsh and Elliot Wolf first, right off the bat, just for their creativity and their accuracy and the gritty and realness that they bring to this show through every character, every case, good guy or bad guy, right? More importantly, to Tim Walsh, he was my first contact with the show, and just a shout out to him for being so culturally sensitive and aware. It's the first time in my career I've dealt with someone of his level in a studio that was so sensitive and just, really cared about myself, my culture, as well as the demographics and multiculturalism of Long Beach, California. I
Yeah.
say all that to say that, originally the character was meant to be Cambodian.
Okay.
Traditionally, in the South Bay of Southern California, the two Asian groups that have kind of dominated that area are the Japanese who came over a long time ago, including my family, and settled in the South Bay, as well as later, I think in the 80s or 90s, were the Cambodians. I could be wrong on the 80s or 90s, so don't quote my migration date right there. But what the point is, it was, they were very sensitive to making this character either one of those two, right?
Okay.
And so originally it was for a Cambodian character. When I auditioned and they found me, so to speak, Tim was very adamant that he changed my name. And he
Okay.
wanted me to feel comfortable in my own skin, knowing that I wasn't of Cambodian blood and that I am of Chinese Japanese descent. So he then learned I was from the South Bay. So Long Beach, has been in my backyard. And the fact that I have such strong Japanese American roots in the South Bay, just kind of all came together. And long story short, the name Koyama is actually my mother's maiden name.
Oh
And
wow.
so it's a tribute to her. It's a tribute to that side of my family. I always honor. Everyone knows me as Rich Ting, obviously after my father's last name. So it's kind of cool, to have a full circle moment. My mom is a huge Dick Wolf fan. My cousin John Koyama is a huge stunt coordinator in the business, and he's the one who kind of grandfathered me into the stunt world back in the day to get my SAG card. So, it's just a cool opportunity to pay homage to not only my Japanese heritage, but to my mom and my cousin who are, my huge support system.
What drew you to the role now? Like how did you find it easy playing a character like this? And I know Eric told me that you guys went even on ride-alongs
Right.
to learn.
Right. Well, truth being said, I I've always wanted to play a police officer, ever since I was probably 4 years old. Halloween came around, I wanted to be a police officer, right? So I think the dream fantasy started a long time ago. But to really dial in, I've had the opportunity and been fortunate enough to do ride-alongs throughout my entire life, whether it was
Yeah.
junior high school and in college. Um, but yes, according to Eric, that is right. We shout out to Long Beach Police Department, to the gang unit out there. We were able to get some get some front row seats to really what's going on and just the vast demographic and like I said, multiculturalism of Long Beach, California. I grew up really close by, but it's so big, and that's why I'm so excited to showcase this community, for the world because everyone knows LA, through
Mhm.
Hollywood. No one really knows Long Beach, so the prep side was just getting dialed in back to the community, through these ride-alongs. And on the tactical side, I was able to go out to Terran Tactical. Terran is very famous for training basically anyone that does a military police action show. He's the man behind all the John Wicks. So was out on his I call it his ranch, right? Shooting guns, getting dialing in just real technicalities, as far as loading, holstering, shooting. So between those two elements, I felt very confident going into the show.
So Tyson, he's a drug enforcement team leader, right?
Right.
Pretty much. How do you think his leadership, like, and style, reflects the themes of the show? And like, what was like the biggest challenge for you for this character?
Right. So Tim Walsh has referred to me as Troian's character's Obi-Wan.
Okay,
So we
it's
meet
interesting.
Troian, who plays Officer Tracy Harmon, and Brandon, who's her trainee. We
Yeah.
meet them right in their moment. But the backstory is I was Tracy Harmon's training officer 12 years ago. And so that puts me more of in a mentor kind of advocate, more of a mature role, kind of like an older brother to her, So throughout the season, the viewers will see, kind of my past with her, our personal arc, as past training officer and trainee. I always want to look out for her. I always want to include her. I always want to help her out in whatever she needs. As far as difficulties, I think the thing that I really want, and not necessarily a difficulty, but with all characters that I play, I hate to be one color. I hate to be one
Mm,
dimension. So, even though Tyson Koyama, he's a great police officer. He's tough. He's intimidating. He enforces the law. He's a man of knowledge and maturity. At the same time, he's vulnerable. And I always want to bring out. I have a tendency to play more. I would say, for lack of words, a more tough characters in my career, right? And the
yeah.
important thing in playing these kind of characters is to show the opposite, is to show that they're a real human being, So, and the way I do that is through their vulnerability. There are a few moments that you'll see, and everyone will see that, you feel Sergeant Koyama's love, and the fact that he
Yeah.
wants to take care of other people.
Mm,
So, not difficult, but that's always the challenge when I play these kind of characters.
mm. What I enjoyed about this show too is like the way they decided to film this with like you got the handheld cameras, you got the body cams, and you got like
Right.
the dash cams. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, I thought it was awesome. Shout out to our crew and everyone behind the camera work, because you get a second of a steady cam, you get a second of a body cam, those take hours to set up and to film,
Yeah.
right? It just all came together to really bring the audience, into this cinematic experience. Like you literally feel like you're in a ride along,
Mm,
and you get kind of tricked because it's not, it feels like a documentary because it's so real, but then it's not, right? So I think with the culmination of all these different styles of lenses, camera work, it just really keeps you engaged. And I swear, because I've seen the episodes, the 30 minutes feels like an hour in the best way
mm,
possible because you're just so drawn in and engaged and you can't deny what you're seeing. You stay in it until the end and it's exhausting in the best way possible.
mm. I was told all the actual on-calls that you guys filmed are actually true stories.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Was
And
there?
again, shout out to Elliot and Tim for doing that. That's the one thing I think we pride ourselves on, not only being pro character in every element, but also just bring truth, right?
Mm,
They were very adamant about everything. Usually on police procedurals, you'll get these calls to just kind of kick off the episode,
yeah.
and those seem to be not as significant as the main chase or the main case of the entire season. As the viewers will see, these calls that come in every episode, they're so intense, they're so real, they're based on facts. They're inspired by real events, and they're no, we don't take plays off, for lack of terms,
Yeah.
everything hits hard, and I think that's again what keeps you in it. There's no
Mm,
time for you to really exhale in a good way.
yeah. Was there a specific theme or like even like an event that you guys filmed that you enjoyed that you were looking forward to?
Oh yeah, I mean, we get the episodes as they come out and as they get edited and whatnot. And I think, the thing that distinguishes our show from other shows is that the crime isn't solved at the end of every episode, right?
Right.
It's a rolling season, which again keeps you engaged. So I think for us as characters and as actors, we're excited to find closure on some of these things. And we would obviously, like I said, we know what we're shooting, and we
Yeah.
know there's these big action moments or these big intense moments or these life moments, so to speak. And so, of course, I can't give any spoilers away, but
Right.
the cool thing was is that we knew we were gonna finally, we saw the light, towards the middle of the season, and we get to that light at the end of the tunnel at the end.
I like what this also has like an amazing cast. Was there a specific member of the cast that you enjoyed having scenes with, or somebody that if we see a season two, you hope you get more scenes with?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the immediate family cast with Troian, Brandon,
Yeah,
Eric, and Laurie, like, the thing I loved about it was everyone comes from a veteran past, right? This is by far not anyone's first show. So in that sense, it was a very, very mature cast to be around every day, which made it great. Everyone knows their job, everyone's been here before. Um, most of my scenes are with Troyan. Obviously, just like I said, as our relationship on the show is,
yeah,
I'm her past former training officer. Um, and so I loved every scene with her and Brandon. Um, have interaction with Eric as well. He's a legend to me. I've not to make him feel old, but I've grown up watching him. So it's always cool to see and work with these actors and now develop relationships, kind of off camera with people that you've grown up watching. That's always a bit surreal. But no, I just hope, yeah, that we do get to come back for season two. And if we do, there's just so much more history between Tracy Harmon's character and myself and as well as what's to come. We definitely end on a great note, but it's dot dot dot, right? So I would love to not only go back and keep exploring contextually our past and our history, but to also move forward and to see what happens with my character as well as hers.
Yeah. You mentioned Eric. Not only he was on the show, he also directed, produced
Right.
it. Any pointers from him while he was behind the camera?
Oh yeah, I mean, first of all, he's a great director. Everyone has their own style. I love being directed and working for Eric in that way. I also love working with Eric on camera.
Yeah,
So, you know, I think, uh, I think, what? How do I say this so that everyone understands? When a director doesn't give you notes and he
yeah.
doesn't and he doesn't focus on you, it's because most likely you're doing a good job. You know, this game is a little different than other games where you may not always get positive encouragement every take because there's so many elements going on. But my goal with Eric was to have him talk to me the least because that meant I was doing everything he wanted, right? But
Yeah,
no, great notes, great
yeah,
direction. And I think, he's a player coach. He's an actor, he's a director, he's an actor. So he knows how to
yeah.
communicate. And shout out to him and just again, surreal. I'm being directed by Eriq La Salle. That was dope.
Right. How many episodes are we expecting for the first season to drop? And is there a specific episode that you can't wait for viewers to watch?
Well, yeah, it's an 8 episode season.
Okay.
Amazon Prime's dropping it all at once. Dick Wolf's bringing back the half-hour drama, so you can binge all 8 episodes in 4 hours. My episode, honestly, no spoilers, but the finale the finale is dope, man. Like it's just all the buildup pays off in the finale, obviously. But on this season, you everyone's got to just wait. Like, that's probably my favorite episode of the whole season. Which is cool because you get to finish on a great note, as far as I'm concerned, right?
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, every episode, there's a formula and Tim and Elliot and Eric and everyone involved, all of our producers, they really nailed it, because again, I know, the bad thing, people are going to be upset when it ends because it's going to
Mm,
end and they're going to want more. I know it. I'm not hoping, I know it.
yeah.
And hopefully
Th-
there is more to come.
right. Those are the best shows when it ends and you're like, now I gotta wait another year or
Right,
whatever.
right,
It's like
right, right.
that's a so that's amazing. January 9th, Prime Video. I just want to jump before we end this interview on a little bit on Tulsa King. I want to let you know that I was upset what happened to your character of Jackie.
I appreciate.
I was hoping we were gonna see more of him.
Yeah, Tulsa King, that was what an experience, man, to work with that cast and obviously with, Sylvester Stallone. Um, that came up. I wasn't planning on that, being a fan of the show
Yeah.
of season one, I never saw a person like me, of my ethnicity, of my look, somehow infiltrating that world. But actually, it worked schedule wise. It was beautiful. It was such a gift because we had that SAG strike last year, right? So actually,
Yeah.
On Call was supposed to premiere earlier this year, and so we ended up finishing On Call early 2024.
Mm.
And we were just getting ready to premiere it and do all the press for it, and then I get a call for Tulsa King season two, and I had this weird gap that it worked out perfectly schedule wise, you know. Spent the whole time in Atlanta shooting with, you know, that whole entire cast and crew. And yeah, it sucks how it ended for me character wise, but just what an experience, man, from the first episode of season 2 to, you know, to the end. And just another checklist, man. I never thought I'd be able to have an opportunity to work with Stallone,
Right.
and can check that box off for sure.
Yeah, even with Taylor Sheridan.
I mean, that's the man, bro. Like that dude, just to be in his universe,
Right.
was a huge win for me personally. You know, I'm a fan of all of his material, which is a rare thing because usually, you know, when I book shows or I book movies or whatnot, I have to go back and rewatch, you know, the prequels
Yeah.
or all like 8 seasons or whatever it may be to kind of catch up. You know, Taylor Sheridan is one of those guys where I would say, shoot, man, like at least 3 or 4 of his shows, like I'm on. Like I'm dialed in right now. Like if you know if there's a role for me and I can jump in, I will not miss a beat.
Right.
So to be able to jump in out of all shows, Tulsa King, I mean that was epic for me. So
Right.
yeah, it sucks how I how it ended for me. But like I said, what a fantastic journey and experience.
Right. And the one thing I noticed about like the Taylor shows, he likes to bring cast members back to his other projects. So who knows?
Right,
We might see you at
right.
something down the road.
I would be honored and I would be, you know, available for that man any day of the week. So hopefully that comes true. Try to manifest that into existence. So
Amazing. Rich, let's end this by how can the listeners, the viewers now find you on social media, keep up with you? I noticed you've been posting stuff about On Call and a few other things.
right. I'm on all social media platforms at Rich Ting World.
Amazing. Rich, I want to thank you for giving me this today, and we'll have to get you back on hopefully with the next project.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.